Former President Donald Trump is waking up in Milwaukee less than 48 hours following an assassination attempt. Trump is set to appear on stage for the Republican National Convention, and that's starting today. The shooting happened at a Trump rally in western Pennsylvania, not too far from Pittsburgh. Trump was shot in the ear and rushed off the stage to safety with blood on his face. The gunman, who's now been identified as 20-year-old Thomas Crooks, was shot and killed by Secret Service. He was found on a rooftop about 150 yards away from that stage. We're going to go ahead and get to a news alert. South Carolina is ready to carry out the death penalty for the first time in more than a decade. President Biden stands behind his decision to shoot down the balloon that caught the attention of people all throughout the Carolinas. And back to that breaking news we're covering this morning. Alec Murdaugh guilty of killing his wife and son, and this morning he will be sentenced. So after deliberating for only 3 hours, the jury determined Alec Murdaugh brutally murdered his son Paul and then turned the gun on his wife and shot her multiple times. The prosecutors say the verdict is an example that no one is above the law and thanked investigators for their work in that case. The judge also had a message of gratitude for those jurors. A 15-year-old student is facing charges after bringing a gun to school. This was yesterday, by the way, and this comes just 2 years after a student shot and killed his classmate at that same school. We want to go ahead and get to a news alert that's coming out of Kansas City this morning. That's where one person is dead and 21 others are hurt after a shooting. 3 people are in custody. Texas authorities have identified the person who opened fire at a megachurch in Houston. The woman had a criminal background and a known history of mental illness. Officials say she had her 7-year-old son with her when she walked into the church and started shooting. We're getting to a news alert out of North Carolina this morning. That's where there's growing concern for students and staff at UNC Chapel Hill after they went on lockdown due to alerts of an armed and dangerous person. Now, this marks the second time this has happened since the start of the semester. UNC police issued an emergency notification yesterday afternoon about an armed person. Officers were on the lookout for a suspect who was seen waving a gun at the campus bagel shop over a reported employment-related conflict. Students and staff were advised to shelter in place and go inside immediately. The good news is no shots were fired and that man was arrested. The lockdown is the second in just 3 weeks. If you remember, back in August, a doctoral student at the school shot and killed an associate professor in the Department of Applied Physical Science. The suspect is now charged with first-degree murder.
Well, that's pretty much what we're seeing is these waters, they continues to rise. I mean, just look where I'm standing. We're going to take a little walk right here on this pathway very carefully. There's a lot of debris here, a lot of glass, and really just the remnants of what's left of this house. But on this patio here, it looks like this was possibly their front door. We do have some new details. We have learned that that plane originally was flying from Myrtle Beach and then Knoxville and then to Asheville, and that's when they had to make that Mayday call for engine failure because their cockpit started filling up with smoke. That plane crashed on I-26 around 8:15 last night, leaving a fiery scene. We've been showing you that video all morning long of those drivers witnessing that crash site right there. A mom and her 2 children having to be pulled from a back window of this house that's behind me right here. I'm actually going to step out of frame so you can get a look at kind of what's going on, but I just spoke to Fire Chief Charlie King not too long ago, and he was telling me, don't let the outside of this house deceive you. You do your tricks upside down. How did you get started in all of this?
Incredible! How do you feel?
I'm so glad
You survived!
I survived! Come on. Oh, Christy Waite, Fox Carolina News.
I'm so proud of the team and how we played just throughout the whole season. It was absolutely amazing.
They just knew that they'd won a national championship, so pretty special.
An achievement that's a big deal for this young team.
We've only been competing for 6 seasons. In the space of 6 years, we've grown up from the team that barely had won one game in our very first season to now going 23-1 and, you know, finishing with a national championship.
The Roland Tigers beat the Illinois Hawks 29-21 to capture that coveted title.
The entire time I was like, I'm having fun, but I'm scared if we don't win, because I'm like, what if we don't win? What if that happens? And I didn't cry, my eyes watered, but started to.
Center pick! Right. Gotta go hard, Hudson, they're saying a pick for you.
Our players are all have a lower limb disability. These kids obviously don't have the opportunity to play for their local school. They don't necessarily have the opportunity to play for their church or any other league. And so adaptive sports really gives them that opportunity to be a part of a team, to play a sport, have all of the great benefits of participating in a competitive sport.
It's more than just a basketball team. It's family.
I absolutely love my coaches. I love my team. I wouldn't trade my team for the world.
Oh! How do you leave Joe open?
A team that continues to overcome adversity on and off the court as they prepare for their next season.
Just getting over the hump of most of the starters are leaving, so like everybody's having to work into getting better. What can I do next year that will make us better?
And while their roster may change, the goal stays the same.
Win another championship, I guess.
Reporting, Christy Waite, Fox Carolina News.